co-main event this weekend, Cejudo versus Merab. Now, how do I know it's the co-main event? Well, for obvious reasons. The same reason you know. It's the second biggest fight. As a matter of fact, a co-main event many times will be the bigger fight. Ariel Helwani will name that the people's main event. Makes sense. We don't argue when Ariel coined that term. We don't even argue with the definition that Ariel applied to that term, because Ariel's right. And that is how I know. I mean, let's take a good look at it. Cejudo fired his coach. Now, I didn't like that moment, by the way. I don't know if that was meant for TV, if that was real, if that was a bit. I don't know. I did not like it. It made me very uncomfortable, but it's a huge part of the story, right? And you guys have certainly heard it. When I just referenced it, you knew exactly what I meant. And what about Merab? Is there any possible scenario? Because, I mean, let's back up to Henry. It appears, and in Henry's mind, and I can share this as a friend of Henry's, within Henry's mind, and I have to say it that way because I'm not positive he's been told this. In Henry's mind, if he wins, he fights for a title. If he loses, he retires. Now, that is huge, and you also see where that special caveat is not an embellishment, is it? If Henry was to beat Merab, it would make a lot of sense that he fought for the belt, particularly since it's Henry, particularly since he's showing his ability to get back up. He's willing to come down the card. Most guys aren't willing to do. He's willing to fight for less because he's not on participation. A lot of guys aren't willing to do that. Henry will be showing a lot, not to mention that is a glorious victory. And in terms of retirement, that isn't like some threat to the world. That's just a very realization that somebody who's won the Olympics, won the MMA world title at 25, wanted to get at 35, and wants to pursue it at 45, somebody like that just cannot live in second place, can't live in the field of the contenders. So he's going to do his best to pull himself out, or he's going to give that opportunity to somebody else. I believe it. That's very believable. And it's a very good story. Now let's take a look at Merab. Is there any realistic, because again, I'm aware that this hasn't been named the number one contenders match. I'm aware of that. But don't we all understand? Because I'm trying to figure out how this got to co-main status. And I'm trying to explain this to you all. We all, even without being told, cannot fantasize a scenario where Merab beats Cejudo, thus extending Merab's win streak. Is at 9? I believe he's at 8 right now, which is a tie for the record. Nobody's won 8 in a row. I believe one of the guys would be a tie to not get a title fight. If he wins 9 in a row, he would then be the first person to ever not be given a title shot. So can we agree that we all believe if Merab wins, Merab gets a title shot? Can we agree on that, whether we've been told it or not? Of course we can. And that is why they are the co-main event. Except they're not. The co-main event is an absolute secret. Now, it's been said, it's not that kind of a secret, but no one is discussing it. It's called Paulo Costa versus Robert Whittaker. I cannot imagine a scenario where you beat Robert Whittaker and you don't fight for a belt. In fact, in the modern times, nobody has. Nobody has beaten Robert Whittaker that either didn't have a belt or did not instantly go and fight for a belt. And we all know Paulo Costa is a big star. And whether we like his schedule or not, right? Because there's been some misfights. There's been some stuff we wanted to see. There's been some circumstance. But we also have to admit that the laws of supply and demand are very real. And we love Paulo Costa, right? Is there any reason to act like we don't? It's a big deal. Everything when he walks through the curtain and you see, oh my goodness, right? It's great. So my point is, to get him back in title contention seems, absent of the schedule that's been a little bit spotty, absent of that, this guy gets a beautiful check in every box. So it would seem like this is a massive fight. It would seem like a lot of eyes are on it. The only problem is there's never been a fight, no matter how hard, how competitive, what the bludgeon is, there's never been a fight that after the fact is named for something higher and more grandiose than was discussed prior to. It doesn't work that way. There will never be a job interview. You get 10 people that come through the door, right? You're the boss, you got to hire one of these people. There's never a time where one of those candidates says, yeah, I really don't think I'm the guy for it, but let me tell you what I do, and then tells you things, and you got to bring it back in and go, you are the guy. I can't believe you don't believe in yourself more. This is exactly what I'm looking for. Never has that happened. Now, a lot of times what we discuss in the grandiosity gets brought down, and we don't see it all, but it never goes the other way. Hey, this is a good fight, this is a big fight, let's go ahead and put it on. Two really good, oh my, on the back end of it, the press go, wow, that number one contender was part of that. I didn't even see it until now. And I just think that it's a miss, and I don't know why they do it that way. And Paulo Costa is a bit of a master at what he does. There's something about this where he's been reserved. I don't know how to take that. I don't know my interpretation. Like, if I was to give you a master class in fight promotion, I would just take you back to September of last year. I would take you to August and to the month before that, if anyone knew what came before that. Because this is all the way back in last year, right? So you have to do some research. But the point is, what Paulo Costa was doing to build his fight with Chimaev, this is perfect. This is what you want every single guy to do. And Paulo's not doing that for Whittaker. Now, I don't blame Paulo at all. I'm just sharing with you. I'd like to know why. Was there something about it where he quit believing in it? Right? I mean, guys in baseball will go out there and if they don't scratch their head at exactly this time, if they hadn't eaten the same breakfast the morning before, if they don't pat the bat onto their heel twice with this foot before they cock it in the first place, they don't believe they can hit the ball. Like superstition does not go away. And this is coming from a guy whose cousin Corey told him you got to eat a ham and cheese omelet every day before a wrestling match. And every day before a wrestling match, I ate a ham and cheese omelet. So, I mean, I'm not completely judging them. I'm just wondering, is that what it is? Like, did Paulo Costa come so hard at Chimaev that he thought he somehow aligned the universe against himself and therefore should not do that? I'm only wondering. Robert Whittaker, very in line. And I'm tough on Whittaker. I'm tough on Whittaker because he's handsome, and he's a wonderful guy, and he can take it. He's awesome. Robert Whittaker's awesome. If you ever meet him, you're going to love him. But from a promotional standpoint, he doesn't do it. And he doesn't do it because he doesn't understand what we're doing here. And that upsets me. It upsets me to have somebody living in this space, making millions of dollars, that doesn't even know what we're doing. Robert Whittaker had a fight one time coming up with Israel Adesanya. It was a world title fight, main event, and he turned down media opportunities. I mean, I couldn't fathom who is giving him that advice. And I could see where a trainer or a coach would, because they don't know what's going on, and that's okay, but they don't live in the business of it at all. The manager does. And the manager's got to be in charge. You can't have a fighter and you got your managers down here. It can't happen. Won't happen. Will not see a main event big guy, somebody that you looked up to, somebody you dreamed of, somebody that got to where you want to be, where it was in that pecking order. And you damn sure can't have the trainer on top. The manager has to be the adult in the room that can stand back and look at everything. And then the trainer's got to be up right close, and he can't see anything other than this one athlete and prepare him. I'm just sharing for you. Whittaker and Costa is the co-main event. I don't know what's on the fight. You got to put something on it, Haas. I don't know what's on the fight. I know that Merab and Henry, on one side of it, has a career on the fight, a career that could come to an end. And on the other side of that victory has a career that's really getting ready to take off, because I do believe the winner fights for the belt, particularly if that's Merab. But somehow that story with everything on it is playing second fiddle to a fight where the principals, the fighters themselves, haven't told anybody they're fighting.